Today's reading is from the speech Happy Unification Church Members by Reverend Sun Myung Moon on May 22, 1977. Mankind is the visible form of God, manifesting the masculine and feminine characteristics of God. Together, men and women are the total visible form of God. We read in Genesis that God told Adam to name the animals of creation. Adam had little understanding of the creation, but because God was dwelling with him, he was able to name the animals. When does the kingdom of God start to exist? Heaven can exist only when God and man are together. God and man together create the kingdom of God, and without man there is no heaven. When you go to the spirit world, you can speak with God, but you cannot see God. God is invisible, not only to this physical world, but also in the spirit world. God needed to manifest himself in a visible form in order to have some connection with this physical world, and that visible form became Adam and Eve. Man was put in the supreme position to be the visible, walking form of God. Aju.
My name is Nora Waldman.
My name is Kuninobu Waldman. This is Yoshi Benjamin Waldman.
I'm 30 years old.
I'm 29 years old, and Yoshi is 4 months and 3 days.
Our blessing year is the year 2016. We like to go for walks, and when the weather is nice, and also we like to go shopping together. We think that when we spend time together as a family, we can create nice memories for the future to look back to. And also, every time when I spend time with Kuni, I get to know him a little bit better, and it's always very interesting.
Yeah, I guess when we spend a lot of time together, then we could talk about many more different things than we normally would. And we get to know each other.
He's good looking. He is a very honest person, which I very appreciate, and I can have very good talks with him, and he's very reliable, like very responsible person, but sometimes we can also have a good laugh together, and we can have jokes. We can have a lot of jokes.
My wife, she is nice. Sometimes she's very strong. She cares about Yoshi a lot. I think that our characters are very compatible together.
We believe that God is the center of our marriage. I believe that God is our father, our mother, and if I have struggles with Kuni, I like just to pray to God, and sometimes I get inspirations, and it really helps. It helps me to work on myself, my capacity to love, and to embrace Kuni and accept him how he is.
God is important in our marriage, first because our relationship is centered on God, and it's important that we don't just think about what I want or what she wants, but we could think about other things and what would be good for our family. And
I would say that I really would encourage, even though you go through difficulties in your marriage, that you don't give up on it. Like, this is something what I personally feel is important. Even when I have struggles with Kuni, I don't want to give up. And I always want to work on our relationship and on myself. And I'm sure there's always an answer. And yes, that's one thing that I would like to say. And also for those young children young second generations who didn't find a spouse yet, I would just recommend you to really not give up. And I believe that God prepared something for you and someone for you. So it's important to rely on God.
For young people, let's see. I guess sometimes remember that it's not all about you and what you want to do. And that it's sometimes you have to think, it doesn't sound nice to say think about like what your family wants or what your parents want. But sometimes I feel in our community we tend to sometimes completely ignore that. I'm not saying that you should do what your parents or what your family wants, but consider it, sometimes God wants to talk to you through other people because you're stubborn. So sometimes it might come from, a sibling, a parent, or even a friend, even a non-church member friend it could even come from. So remember that sometimes if you're very stubborn, God wants to talk to you through many different ways.
Also, how do you like to see that video? Wasn't it good? Kuni, Nora, and Yoshi was there. And you were saying that, Che was saying that it is because we don't know, our community is very big and we don't know each other. No one knows them. So next time we are going to interview Mr. Bruce because nobody knows him. This is true. Not only for our community, this we really have to show what's a blessed family. I remember Mr. Peter Lewis a few years ago started that project in headquarters, and I think few months we had that. Then recently, when Che became our blessed family ministry director, she had that idea. Then I said, okay, let's do it, and let's do every week one family we introduce, and then we know each other. And also if you, of course it is great to visit each other and to get to know directly, but this is kind of, through this video, we can know that family a little better. And we know how they live a life of faith, how they are leading a life as a blessed family. And so in our community, we can have this years of weekly videos because our community is large enough. We can have continuous videos for several years. And yeah, please talk to her and please have an interview with her, and so that we can really make these videos to promote our blessed family culture and promote proud blessed families to everyone. Okay? And let's give a big round of applause to Che Kansoro, who started this. Also, how do you like the reading today? Excellent? Yeah, Rani was telling me that it's okay, it's a bit heavy to be comparing us with God. But that's the truth. Many times we can feel, oh, how is it? It's a kind of really, really powerful thing. We are being compared to God, and we are being, true parents are saying that we are the visible, substantial form of God, a walking form of God. And we are the visible manifestation of God. God is not visible, but we are the visible form of God Through other people, we can really experience God. And that's what it says. But when we say that, can you believe? Can you really comprehend that? Can you really believe that easily that I'm a walking God? Okay, let me go to church as walking God. Do you really feel that way? At least for me, it is kind of really difficult. Sometimes I can easily believe if somebody tell me that, oh, you are not a good speaker, you are not really good, and something when someone put you down, I take that very easily. But when I hear words like this, I doubt, oh, really? I don't feel that way. That kind of thinking come to our mind. And especially that happens, I think, because, when we look around, we don't really see, we have a concept about God as the perfect or the most perfect being in the world, and we that God give us a lot of principles and the way to live. And when we look in our world, even compare our families with that standard, we do not see that as a reality here. The current reality, the present reality we see is that it's not a good thing. When we look around, we don't see that manifestation of God so much in our present world. But we see a lot of unpleasant things around us. Unpleasant, unhappy people or unhappy communities, people who are complaining towards each other, people who find reasons why I have to be angry towards another person. And sometimes people say, I often hear that, oh, you annoy me, that's why I'm angry. And it's not because I choose to be angry, but because of you. And because you made that comment, I'm angry. And that's kind of a natural way for us for now. Because we inherited that from the very beginning, from our parents or our grandparents and from our society and everywhere, we inherit that. And in this reading, again, Father was again saying that we are affected by our emotions are affected by people around us as well as the environment around us. Yesterday I was taking a class for Ilshim group, and it was about peer pressure. And as I was preparing about that topic, I felt it's not just for these kids listening to me. I get affected by that. I get peer pressure sometimes, and I get pressured by my friends or by the surroundings I live. It is not just a thing our young teenagers experience. We all experience all kind of difficult experiences we have. And of course, peer pressure can be good and bad. But most of the time, almost 90%, it's bad influence we get easily from surroundings. And how can we overcome that? How can we really live in this kind of environment and make sure that we are living a life as the living embodiment of God? How can we do that? The only way we can do is that be stronger than the environment you are in. You cannot escape from the environment. Sometimes we choose to, this particular town is not really great. Let's move to another town. Then after some time you find, when the neighborhood we are living, that's also again, it's not so great. Then you choose to move again. And how many times you can move like that? But many times, if our families are strong, we are internally determined, if we are strong enough, we can influence that environment, make that environment as a better environment. we are being in a certain environment. Our involvement there is for a reason. God put us there in order to make that environment better. Not because we will be affected, but God is expecting us to change that environment. And here God is telling us with this high expectation about towards us through our true Father. It's saying that you are the visible embodiment of God. You know, God is invisible. You cannot see God. Even when you go to spirit world, you won't be able to see God. And also read that, here it is saying that in the Genesis we read that Adam named the animals after the creation. Even though he did not know anything about the created animals, he was able to do that because he was one with God in the beginning. And that's why he was able to do things God is supposed to do. For God, in the name of God, he was doing things. But now when we look around, we are not able to do that. We do not see that. We are living in an environment as the tribal Messiah for that environment, but we say, oh, these people are so bad. I better get out of this area. I better move to some better place. That's the way many times we think. But that's not the thing God is expecting from us. Let us really, really believe that we are an embodiment of God. We truly need to be that way. Here again, from the very beginning of that reading, it says mankind is the visible form of God, manifesting the masculine and feminine characteristics of God. Together, men and women are total visible form of God. We truly need to achieve that. In order to achieve that, we really have to strive. Even Yasu was telling me about that, he's like a walking God. I'm so, why he is saying that? No, that's the immediate feeling. I believe we all have that kind of feeling. When we compare ourselves to God, that is the immediate feeling coming to us. But, how it would be when you listen, when you learn from school, or when you hear that some time ago, we were monkeys, and then from monkey we started like walking straight, and then we are animals who are rational. That's a popular say. Humans are rational animals. We easily believe that. Do you agree with me? Like even in schools, like sometimes children coming back from school, they argue with us and they say, that is what we are. But if we tell them that, no, we are walking gods, we are the visible manifestation of God, God created us, the representatives of God, then they would say, what? What are you saying? But easy to believe something, easy to degrade human beings, we easily believe ourselves, we are lowering ourselves, dehumanizing ourselves. But here God is really bringing us up. God is really bringing closer and closer to us, because God created us, created humanity as His representatives. His own, this is His. We are sitting here. True Father is talking about all of us. He's not talking about Jesus or maybe a saint who had an exemplary life, who passed on to the spirit world, and now we can't even test he is God or not. No, he's talking about all of us. Each and every one of us who are sitting here, God is saying that you are the visible manifestation of God. Together, man and woman together, you are the visible manifestation of God. And this is something, a very, very powerful statement. Something we doubt. Is that true? No, we have to. That is because We are conditioned in a way that you are not. We easily believe that you are not. We are not. We have to change that attitude. We have to truly believe. We have to believe into our core that I am a substantiation of God. I need to live that kind of life. I need to exemplify that in my own life. Then only we can create that heavenly kingdom here. Then only we can really become happy unification church members. You know, that title of that speech Father gave, that's called Happy Unification Church Members. And it was kind of very unusual kind of title compared to many of Father's speeches. But Father really, true parents really want us to lead a happy life, an exemplary life, where someone can see this is what heavenly kingdom is. When someone see our families, when someone see us in the street, people should be able to see this is a very, very special person. This is the way I want to become. And people need to see God in our life. And in order to do that, we really need to believe this. And then also, we need to avoid continuously listening. Some kind of, many times a talk come to us. You hear little voice saying that you are not enough. You cannot do it. You won't be able to do it. You are not good enough. Many times, those kind of words come to our from somewhere, come to our mind. You are not good enough. You are not a good family anymore. You are not a good son. You don't follow your parents. You are not a good daughter. You do not practice the principles you learn in your family or you learn from your church. You don't practice. So you are not a good boy anymore. You are not a good girl. Then we believe that. Do you have such kind of experience sometimes? Sometimes we listen to that easily than we listen to God. Even though God said that you are my son, you are my daughter, you are the one I'm looking forward to. You have to be my person in that city, in that town. We cannot understand that. We cannot digest that. But we very easily digest when we hear that you are not qualified, you are not good enough. We can easily qualify, easily we agree with that. Yes, I am. I'm such a bad person. I'm such a, I don't have any capabilities. I can't be a good person. Sometimes young people tell me that I don't think I can make a family. I don't think I will be a good husband. I don't think I can be a good wife in my future. That's why I don't want to have a family. Then how can they embody God? How can they become one with a man and woman if they don't marry? Because many times, historically for thousands of years, there wasn't good marriages in this world. People were just abusing each other. People were not even living together. Even in one home, one house, husbands and wives were towards each other. They were abusing. They were not really living. And that's why we can easily think that, oh no, what is true parents saying? It's not attainable. And then everyone think, oh, it's not possible. In Hindu mythology, in Hindu belief, that there are 33 million or a countless number of gods in Hindu beliefs. There is one God, they say that is the highest form of God, is half of that body is male and half is female. And it is actually Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati. They are together. They are two people, but in one form, they in several temples they have that particular deity. That is, when you see that picture, it's Like one side you have a male body, and another side you totally see a female body. Even face also have male and female. And Lord Shiva's wife, it's Sati, and then it is so, to me that was a very, very principled depiction of divineness. And then later, it would be amazing how people twisted that. I don't know, any of you heard about one old practice in India they had. It's called Sati practice of Sati. Have any of you heard about that? It's very, I didn't even wanted to say that, but anyway, it was kind of such a horrible thing. When a husband passed, and then in olden India, even still now, they burned the body. When a husband passed, that wife also has to go with the husband, and people say, oh, that's the way they are united. And many times, it's not voluntary. Sometimes it's like a people pressured the wife, and then wife have to commit suicide and jump onto that funeral fire, or what is it? Fire, into that fire, and then wife also die there. And then some 100 years ago, when we were under British rule, it was outlawed, but still it was kind of, sometimes it happens, not anymore now, but still people worship and glorify, and people put those ladies as like people who are almost forced into death. Then they start, oh, she was the best wife ever. She was so united, and she did not want to live anymore, and she jumped onto his husband's funeral fire. But if wife pass first, different story. Totally different. He can have another wife. Isn't that funny? And I feel like, what kind of horrible incident is that? Horrible thing is that? Those great masters, even they created a form for God as half male and half female. And then many, many masters say that is the highest form of God. And then by using that, people again abuse women. Can you believe? And that's where we truly need to understand that. That's why we truly need to understand the principle. And this is a great lesson we need to learn. Whatever the good things come, everything get twisted. Everything get abused and misused. And Satan is everywhere to abuse all the goodness we have. That's why many times it is so easy to believe the lies we hear from all around. But we do not believe the truth we hear from God. The truth we hear from true parents. The truth we hear from Jesus. It's so hard to believe. When Jesus said, God is our Father, that was a heresy. That was something, no. What are you talking? What are you talking about? It's not possible. When true parents came and true parents started calling God Heavenly Parent, it was so big deal. How can be a female being part of God? It's not possible. But here in 1977, years back, 41 years ago, Father saying that we are created in the image of God. We are created as the walking gods in this world. And in order to make our life better, it's not because father or mother, they want to be the glorious people who want to sit on a throne and then we all are going and worship. It's not because of that. And many times, even when mother said that, when mother explained that you need to understand God clearly, by understanding God is both feminine and masculine together, and I am the embodiment of that feminine God, we misunderstood. Many of us think, why mother is talking about that? Mother talking about that because all this horrific practices we still have in this world, it need to be changed. It has to change. Then only, otherwise people live in a barbaric kind of concept, and killing a wife when her husband passed. And the very last time it happened in India was in 1980s, not so long ago. And then no one know it was voluntary or involuntary. And then even though it was outlawed, in some remote village it happened. And then so many people are glorifying that as the Lordess of, that practice is called Sati, that's named after Lord Shiva's wife Sati, who was totally united with her husband. And then, this girl, she became Sati by committing suicide in husband's funeral fire. That kind of practices. I know about India because I am from India, and none of you know about that. And those kind of practices, it's not only in India. In all over the world, this kind of things happens. We need to change that. We need to really understand that when true parents teach us this kind of things, that mankind is the visible form of God, we got to believe that. We need to understand that. And then it is explaining and manifesting the masculine and the feminine characteristics of God. Together, men and women are the total visible form of God. We need to live that. Anyone says that, many times when we hear this kind of passages, we feel like, that's so high up in heaven. I cannot be that way. It is so hard to achieve that. So, what do? Don't even try. And then we say, that's not, let's forget about this kind of high ideal things. And then we started believing all this kind of nonsense kind of things. That's not possible. Let's not worry about that. No, we have to think about all this and then same time believe that this is not going to happen in one day in my life. Maybe for some miracles, for some people it may be possible, but in my life it is happening every day. In day by day, we are becoming slowly, we are getting there. Maybe in my lifetime, I may not be able to be exactly the way God is right now telling us, that complete visible manifestation of God. But I do believe that my children will be better than me if I try the best in my life. My grandchildren will be even better if I believe that, and if my children believe this promise by God. This is a blessing of God. If we believe that blessing, generation by generation, we will become better and better. And by that, in future, we will totally become the visible manifestation of God. It is possible. Historically, we could not follow that. We did not inherit that in the proper way. That's why we are going back. Slowly we are recapturing with the support with the protection of God, with the blessings of God. We are doing that. So you believe that it is possible, and also do not give up. Many times in our relationships we have in our families, that makes us not to believe what God's promise. When God says this kind of thing to us, we think, no, that's not possible. I can never experience. But believe me, this is the result of this thousands of years of these problems. Some of us still have suffering from those things. But try hard. Again, never give up. When you don't give up, you are really making a better foundation for the future. Sometimes sometimes we have very, very difficult relationship with our children. Sometimes children don't want to follow us, or parents don't want to kind of really communicate with children. But it is possible. When you try again and again. Even if you are not succeeding in a day or in a week, keep trying. And even from children's side also, keep trying. You have to try every day. Then that growth happens slowly. We become better and better, and that way we become the embodiment of God. We have to truly live together with God. We have amazing potential in our life. God created us with the potential to be as equal as God. What an amazing blessing is that. But many times, the problem is that we do not believe that, and we do not try because we do not believe, and we give up easily. But when we try, and when we try again and again, it happens. So it is so easy. Sometimes when we compare our life with maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it is much better now, relationship-wise. For me, it is kind of when I, in my own character, I'm much more forgiving now than before. I resolve things much faster now. Like Irani sometimes tell me that, after you became pastor, you got a little better. Or or even like, actually, last few weeks, after I listened, like last time I went to Korea, then at that time, True Mother was saying that we really have to believe that we are the manifestation of God, and we need to treat each other like that. And after that, I really try in my life. And it works. When I get into an argument or something with Rani, or it's always me, it's not her. And then, as soon as I kind of go and we talk about that, and then I try quickly, no, I shouldn't keep it with me. Let me resolve it quick. And it is possible when we try it. Otherwise, I had like sometimes, when I get, even when I was very young, sometimes I get upset and angry and then keep it for many days, and then I'm not there anymore because I try. I could be probably opposite way also, I could grow. But because I listen to the principle, because I try, it is getting better and better every day. So I really want to encourage all of you with this passage our true parents given to us. This is from God. God wants us to remember that we are the visible embodiment of God. There is no other way you can see God except through another human being. We may have all the pictures and all the idols and everything, but that's not the way. The only way we can experience God is through another human being. God has amazing qualities, and all those qualities we we all possess that. And many times I can experience that from you also. Many times I experience that, how forgiving you are, how loving you are, how much caring you are. Like sometimes I'm really amazed by when our second-gen brother Kevin Bell come here to our church. And I know all of you know Kevin, do you? Kevin is an almost 28-year-old second-gen. He has Down syndrome, and his both parents pass on to spirit world, and his only one sister he has is in Europe. And almost past 6 years, or 6 plus 7 years, Kevin is by himself here. But some of our members take care of him. When Fedamas were here, Masako Fedama was taking care of him. And then after that, after she moved to Oregon, Mrs. Williams, Williams family, and Baines family, and Branco's family, they take care of Kevin Bell. And then when they come here, you always notice that how happy he is when he come here. He want to hug everyone, he want to kiss everyone. And that happens because some of our families, they amazingly pour out their love, the God's love through them. And he could be, that is one thing I feel amazing. I feel really, really hopeful in our community. And I'm just saying one example. There is so many things like that happens. Many times in our community when there is someone have some difficulty, there are other people cooking for them and bringing food to their home. And someone, maybe one young boy or girl have some difficulty, even other uncles and aunts are there to counsel them and help them. And all these kind of things, this is really divinely, those are God's manifestation happening in our community. And that many times we don't really remember that. We don't really think about that. But sometimes if something unpleasant happens, we immediately think about that. Oh, that's again. Oh, that's the way it is. And sometimes something unpleasant happens between our husband and wife. We remember that. But we do not think about how committed we are still. Even if we are not yet the best couples, but we are still together. We are still striving to be together. And we are still striving to be completely one. And that is the beauty. And believe in that. And then go forward. Then we will be able to really become a walking form of God. And believe that, and never believe that silent. Sometimes someone tell you that, no, this is like you are not good. You are not qualified enough. You are not leading a good life in your personal life. Do not think that way. But invest yourself to become better and better in your personal life so that you can really become a better person for the people around you. So that people around you will experience God's love through you, God's grace through you, God's forgiveness through you, and be an agent of God by showing that those qualities of God in your life. Sometimes those, you may feel like, I forgive so many times. Jesus said that, Jesus answered to someone that 7 times 70 or something like so many times. Don't even think about a number. Just forgive again and again. Even I know that's the hardest thing. And we believe that is as the hardest thing because so many people say that forgiving is harder, very hard. But when it becomes our habit, it is not difficult. And make these divine qualities as our habits and make those habits make ourselves, then we can truly, truly become an embodiment of God. And I really want to encourage all of you to go through this passage, go through these readings again, and to really believe that God is looking upon us to have that beautiful creation God envisioned. Without us, we cannot do that. And sometimes we may think that I could not raise my children fully well. It's my fault. Then push us down. Do not feel that way. We are really fighting against a humongous culture which has so much history, as much as the history of humanity. And we are breaking that. And then we are creating a new culture. And let me read a small passage from True Fathers, the same speech. Unless man becomes perfect, God remains a God of failure, not a God of success. This is how I am making the greatest contribution to mankind and to the new culture of the world. I am bringing the living God down to man and bringing man up to God. God and man can finally become one in this new age. It's not just talking about man as man, it's about mankind, about the entire humanity. God is really trying to bring us up to God's level, and then again bring us closer to God, and bring us. It says like this: I am bringing the living God down to man and bringing bringing man up to God. True parents are there to bring us together. God and humanity live together with all the qualities we believe are divine qualities, God qualities. We have to possess them. We have to truly embody that in our life so that we can truly become that way. And same time, do not worry about, do not allow anyone to drag you down by saying that, no, you are not perfect and you cannot be perfect. Do not listen, but listen to God's promise. God is always with us. When we come together with God, we can do amazing things. We can truly create that heavenly kingdom right here in our community and in our families. And think about ourselves. Think about how can I make myself better? And do not think about other person. Here again, Father says that we have been talking about how to restore big things. The family, nation, and the whole world. But the core of everything is to restore yourself into God's full love. And I want all of us to really focus on really bringing all of us back to God's full love, which means full forgiveness, full of grace towards other people, full of compassion towards other people, full of love towards other people. Let us be an embodiment of God through exemplifying in those qualities and again thinking that how can I become better in exemplifying those qualities in my own life. And in that way, we can truly build everything amazingly wonderful around our life. And that way I feel like, what Father is saying, like a happy unification church members, we can truly make the whole world happy world. We can truly make the whole place, the heavenly kingdom, where everyone really happily live together peacefully. That's what we want to really do. Let us do that in this week. I want you to focus on that. Thank you so much. God bless you.